Intrigue Media. Get noticed, get found.
So today we're going to be talking about SEO 401. So you guys have made it. You've gone through 101, 201, and 301, or maybe you haven't, but either way you're here. So welcome to 401. So yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Awesome. So today we're going to be talking about using keywords and geographies, even when it's awkward. Has anyone ever felt awkward about SEO? Well, I have. I'm sure most of you have. And even if you didn't realize you have, you might have. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, we're going to talk about these guys. So in the summertime, I'd like everybody to close your eyes for a second and just put yourself in this moment. So it's 22, 23 degrees out. It's a perfect sunny day. It's clear blue skies. You're heading downtown to the Rogers Center and you're going to go to a Blue Jays game. Now you've only got $40 in your pocket after you've bought your ticket. So you actually want to have some money to buy a beer at the stadium. So in order to save money, you decide to go to a hot dog stand outside, and you're going to get the best street meat that you can buy for $5. And you walk up to the hot dog stand, and there's a buzz in the air. There's people everywhere. You're waiting in line behind 5-6 people, and you start to think about the games. Your boy Stroman's on the mound, so you know he's going to bring his swagger and destroy the Yankees because they're coming to town and they suck. And you're sitting there waiting in line, and then all of a sudden you're trying to order. So you order, you grab a hot dog, and you leave a tip because you're a generous person, and you go over to the condiments. And when you go over to the condiments, you see the usual array. You've got your ketchup, mustard, maybe even some mayo. You got your sriracha, onions, and all that stuff. But there's a sign above the ketchup and mustard that says ketchup or mustard. Choose one, and you're not allowed to choose more than one. And that's it. So everyone can wake up now. Has that ever happened to you?
Well, you ruined the day.
No, ketchup or mustard. That'd be weird, right? It's always ketchup and mustard, right? I've got one more scenario. So everyone back into your dream state. When I snap, I'm hypnotizing you, actually. That's what I'm doing. So you're going into a record store. You have some people over tonight, you've got your record player, and your collection of records is pretty solid, but you're missing that elusive Fleetwood Mac album, and you're just dying to get it because you just got to have that for your party tonight. So you're going in and you walk into the store, and the familiar scent of cardboard mixed with must and mildew that a vinyl record store offers hits your nose, and you start leafing through crates. And as you're leafing through crates looking for Fleetwood Mac, you actually stumble across another one of the greats of all time. And it shocks you because something's wrong with the album cover. And everyone can look up now. It says, Hall or Oates. What's with that? That's weird, right? So I think a lot of times in the SEO world, we kind of have this thing that we struggle with. We've got this tension between great copy that people love to read. And then we also have this tension between putting in keywords and geographies. And it feels awkward sometimes. And I feel awkward a lot when I'm trying to fit in stuff because I feel like I'm trying to fit it in and it doesn't feel like it's natural. But the opposite of this word or is this beautiful word that I like to call and. And I think Hall and Oates and ketchup and mustard are great, silly stories about how we can use this. But I think it's really possible for us to have beautiful copy that people are riveted by and pulls people in while still working in our keywords and geographies. So today I'm going to dig into a little bit about how to do that, and it's one technique. It's going to be pretty short, so I'm going to get into that. Sometimes it's awkward to add keywords into your copy. So I think, I think maybe this is a better way to put it. If you're a copywriter, you're probably going to recognize what this looks like. Sometimes it's awkward to add search engine optimization keywords into your website copy when you're a Guelph marketing agency. That's how it feels to write. When you go from something like this, you have the sentence, which is great and readable, and then you want to improve it so you can show up in search and also in your community and on Google. And you feel like you're adding in all these unnecessary things which make it clunky and not easy to use. So this is the kind of thing that I know, Alex, you've probably felt at some point in time, and Jess too, and Tori and Kate, and Vanessa back in the day, and me back in the day, and me still today, and Mike. And some of our interns too. So we deal with this all the time. This is a very common task for us. So the technique that I want to propose to you guys today to try, and we're going to do a little bit of a brainstorm exercise at the end of this, is to be redundant. So, James, what did you get up to last night?
Last night, I went to the park.
Really?
Am I supposed to tell a real story?
Yes. Sure. Do you normally lie? That's good, that's good.
All right.
So you went to the park. Let's say you went to the park. When I asked James that question, there was a lot of implied information in asking that question. What I was actually asking James, if I were to expand on the things I was implying, would be like, James, can you tell me right now what you did last night after you got home from work, before you went to bed? Don't include any menial tasks like making dinner, cleaning up from dinner, going to the bathroom, feeding your pets. That's usual. I don't want to hear about that. Tell me what you did outside of that range, and please keep it to within 2 to 3 sentences, no more than 2 to 3 minutes, tops if you must. That's what I was asking James. And we all seem to know that implicitly, just due to social cues and using things commonly. When we write, though, Google doesn't know the things that we're implying when we do things like that. So when we create a page and we call it Home or About Us, Google doesn't know that this is about our marketing agency in Guelph that believes in starting with why and helping clients get in front of their A clients and working only with great people. Google doesn't know any of that. So when I say be redundant, I'm not saying necessarily be repeatedly and consistently redundantly redundant in a redundant fashion in Guelph, Ontario. I'm just saying we need to be a little more reasonably redundant in how we write in Guelph, Ontario. And I want to show you guys an example of an old website that I built back in the day and how I would improve on it if I were to write this page's content again. And then we're going to try doing it ourselves. So Body Innovations is a lovely little studio run by Sue Nash. She is a beauty of a lady. She has a surprisingly dirty sense of humor when you get to know her. And she helps people who are dealing with injuries and who have health goals, who are just having a hard time meeting them. And she helps them, she works with them in one-on-one and group settings, and she helps them be able to meet them. And she's a really lovely lady. She's part of our leadership lunch group. And we built her this website 4 years ago. This is one of the first 3 websites that I built at Intrigue for clients. I think I was talking about it last week. I was working on 3 at the same time. This is one of those 3. And I'm going to show you guys the About Us page. So this is the website. We've got this very small chunk of copy here, and then we've got a little bit more down here. As you can see, my page layout skills were incredible. I don't know how I could get any better than that. But enough about me bragging about how great this page is. I think there's 4 chunks of copy that I want to focus on. So there's the page slug up here, which is bodyinnovations.org/about-us. We're going to talk about that. We've got the H1 and the page title tag here called About Us. And then I'm going to work on this first chunk of copy here. So if we were to do this again, this is what exists here on the left, and this is how I'd rewrite it. So first of all, for the page slug, one of the big keywords that we help them rank for, even though we really didn't optimize the website well for it, at the time was Guelph Pilates classes. And one of the related and more broad, more general phrases was Guelph fitness classes. So since this page is about their whole company, and people who don't know about them aren't going to be searching for anything else other than stuff that falls under the umbrella of Guelph fitness classes, that's what I chose. Guelph is their main geography, and fitness classes is the main keyword. So I've added that into the slug, and I replaced us. It's really simple, but that's a great way to use it, so you can really expand on those URLs if you need to. So that's the first thing I did. And again, I'm telling Google things that Google doesn't know that Google could probably figure out, but now Google's definitely not going to have any issue figuring out where this studio is and what they're about. I did the same thing with the page title, or which would also be the H1 tag on this website. So I replaced us with About Our Guelph Fitness Center. So again, just expanding on the details that I know for sure. I have no problem remembering when I'm writing it, but I'm making sure that not only the user, but especially Google is getting what it needs from this page title, so that it knows that everything on this page is about this fitness center in Guelph. And then here's the copy. So I've taken the chunk, this is the original chunk over here, I took the word Guelph and I figured out a better place to put it in. So I expanded a bunch in here, and then I moved Guelph over here. So I took Guelph out of here because I wanted to add is more than just another fitness center, and then I would put in Guelph, Ontario. So now we have the keyword phrase, fitness center in Guelph, Ontario. And that's very good for SEO. And then on top of that, I added in kind of some why-focused information. We believe in helping our clients reach the peak of their health in group yoga classes, Pilates classes, as well as one-on-one fitness instruction. 3 minutes north of downtown Guelph. So we've got 4 things here worth noting. So we've got group yoga classes, and we've got the word Guelph all over the page, so that's going to help them rank for group yoga classes in Guelph. We've got Pilates classes, and we've got Guelph on the page, so when people type in Pilates classes Guelph or Guelph Pilates classes, they're going to be more likely to show up. We've got one-on-one fitness instruction, which I don't know if people are actually typing that in, but if they did, again, that would help. And then the hyper-localization is 3 minutes north of downtown Guelph. It also mentions the Ignatius Jesuit Center. So if you're a Guelphite and you know the North End, you'll know exactly where they're at. And that's a very local landmark. You're not going to see that anywhere else. So that's very, very unique to the geography of Guelph and to this client. So that's really, really good copy. So if this was another client, like if it was Malcolm, hair salon in downtown Guelph, you could say downtown Guelph, right next to Angels. That's very, very local. That's something that only we know because we go there and we see the business and we're referencing it to a local landmark. If you're the Delta Hotel and you're trying to tell somebody where to go and they're a University of Guelph student, you could say the Delta Hotel is kitty corner to the Griff statue. And if you don't know what the Griff statue is, then it's not really relevant to you because you're probably not a University of Guelph student. So that's a couple ways that we brought it into there. Does anybody have any questions about that so far? Cool. Okay. So now we're going to try it. Oops. There we go. So we're going to do this for restoration design. This is one of our biggest clients from the last couple of years from an AdWords perspective. Melanie's done some great work for them, helping them sell custom Porsche panels. So they make custom panels for vintage Porsche automobiles. And I put a couple keywords and a couple geographies on there so you can kind of figure out what you do. They do have a global market, so they're not just Guelph and they're not just Ontario, not just Canada. And in fact, those would probably be words we'd want to avoid because they're really a global company. I've put some of the countries they serve on there. There's another 5 or 10. So we've got this tension of trying to figure out their about page. Their slug on their page is about.html, so that can definitely be improved. This is the title of the page, about restoration design. And then this is the first chunk of copy here. So I'm going to actually, I forgot to grab paper. So maybe we can go grab some pens and paper. Does anybody have a notebook we could rip pieces of paper out of?
I do.
That's pretty much everybody good to go for the most part? Cool. So does anybody want to share what they wrote?
Sure.
Awesome.
Okay, so my slug was about vintage Porsche parts restoration Canada.
Nice.
And my header tag was about vintage Porsche parts manufacturer in Canada. And then for the text, I changed it up a little bit. So it said restoration design is a manufacturer of high quality replacement sheet metal for vintage Porsche automobiles in Canada, such as the Porsche 911, Porsche, I think it's 365 is another one they do.
356.
356. I had
912.
912, yeah, I knew that one. So there's a bunch of other ones that they probably would be keywords as well. And then I added another sentence that was, we ship vintage Porsche parts around the world to the United States, Mexico, Brazil, and the United Kingdom, as well as other regions. And
Awesome.
added in the last sentence. I was just looking at a way to change it, but I think it looks pretty good. Maybe throw in a geography as well.
That's amazing.
Cool.
Wow. Anybody else want to top that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
For this slug, is there like an amount of words you're supposed to put in it? Like, is there a point where it's too long? Or because I was thinking about doing like I did about vintage parts Porsche restoration. That's what I was thinking of doing with the dashes in between. But then I was like, maybe it should just be about Porsche restoration. I was like, should keep it a little bit shorter. But does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, Alex or Mike, you guys want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I've been running some SEO tests on websites, and they say that 4 dashes is considered spammy.
Ah.
4 dashes.
Good to know.
Yeah, so I think we need to do a little bit of tweaking to our current URLs, but.
Cool. I was going to say 5 or 6 words tops, but that would mean you'd need to have 4 dashes. Let's just use underscores.
Does that include the dash that's between like restoration design on that link? On that
I
one?
do not know.
I don't think it would.
Yeah.
Google's pretty smart in separating the difference between a root domain and the URL slug that comes after it. So they usually view them as 2 separate entities.
Okay. And how do you change that? Like, where would you go in on the website to change the slide like that?
In WordPress, you would do it in the Yoast plugin,
Okay.
and we could take that offline. I'd be happy to show you how to do it. Cool. Did anything new come up when you were writing this? I mean, some of you probably have never done this. Some of you have done this. Did anything stand out from really focusing on being redundant?
I found the title tag difficult because I was like, it is about restoration design. So it was tricky for me to figure out how to incorporate like another keyword into that one. So just that like struggle you were talking about. I found it easier to do this like in the like body of content.
For sure.
I found it pretty easy to do because I work in keywords for restoration design a lot. So I have like a lot of keywords that I'm currently targeting. I included in like the cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, the question is, my understanding that their main business is outside Canada, is this correct?
Melanie?
I don't know.
I think it is, when I met with them a few years ago. So why are we putting word Canada prominently? Would not the search engine then, because Canada is so prominent, say, that's not relevant if I'm in the US?
They have separate sites for Europe, and I think they're creating one for Australia as well.
Okay.
So then those would probably be SEO for the region.
I don't actually know the definitive answer to your question from their perspective, but for the case studies purpose, if there was just one website and they were focused on the world, we would want to integrate in all the keywords, and the way Alex did it was perfect. Because he put it into the copy naturally, like it was just telling you more about them, as opposed to saying, a Porsche automobile replacement part company for Porsche owners in United States, Canada, Mexico, and he didn't just like put it in like a giant list.
Yeah.
The way he did it sounded very natural.
Yeah.
I think one of the other things too, knowing, like I do know a little bit more about the client, so I was able to put in their purpose, and I didn't share this with you guys, but their big niche is making parts that fit. As silly as that sounds, the parts that I think you buy from Porsche aren't made to fit every year of their vehicle. So like if there's like a 2010 and a 2011, let's say Boxster, or more than the vintage stuff, like say it's like a 1950s or 1960s like Porsche 911. I don't even know if that was around then, but let's just say it was, because I'm not a car guy.
1963.
1963, okay, so you have a 1963 911, you have a 1964 911. The front driver's side panel might be slightly different, but Porsche might only have one to fit both. So you get it and it doesn't actually fit your vehicle properly. So that's where their whole niche is building parts that are made exactly for every single year and model. So I put that in the copy. So I said if you've tried finding replacement panels for your vintage Porsche from 1963, you might find that the part works perfectly in 1964 but sucks on your car, more or less, something like that. And then I started bringing in the word vintage Porsche into that. And that's one of the ways that I expanded on what they had. And I added it kind of in between the first and second sentence as well. But I didn't share it with you guys ahead of time, so I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of how I was doing it. So I guess, are there any other questions? I just wanted to put this meme in the presentation. I thought it was hilarious. I literally laughed out loud at my desk yesterday. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was me. A cat on a whale body.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Internet. I guess, is there anything else I didn't cover? Thanks, guys.
Intrigue Media. Get noticed, get found.